Hey, so I've tried to make some sort of video. I've had like a bunch of ideas. I've asked some people for their advice, and I've written down a bunch of ways to try and make a video. But it doesn't feel right trying to write down my feelings that I have. And I'm already kind of getting emotional, so trigger warning. Still funny. Um, so how I've been, you know, well, I've got bullet points, so that's what I'm going with. And okay, a lot has happened in the past 2 years for me. I've gotten married exactly almost 2 years now. Just a couple days, actually. Technically, tomorrow will be 2 years, and oh my gosh, I love my best friend Olivia so much. She means the world to me, and I've always tried my best to provide for her. So you know what I did 2 years ago too? I moved out, got away from my parents. I'd moved out technically before that, but I moved out again to have a house for my wife and I to land, right? And I started my own company exactly 2 years ago. I started my own business, Orbstar LLC, and I felt good. And so I had some contracts, I had some work, and it felt good to take part in that work. And I also switched congregations. I also was just starting a brand new life and becoming a true adult. Right? I was all 22 at this point in time. And, that whole first year was tough to, figure out all the different quirks that you never knew about each other and learn what a business means, having one, and taxes, and taking part in the hard work that I was doing. And that felt good. Definitely, it was way too much for any normal person to take on, but at the same time, at least. And I decided to do it because I'm an overachiever, I guess, and I am competitive at everything that I do. I want to be the best at everything I do, and it's not a great trait. It's good for some things, but for being an imperfect human and trying to be the best human, it's not exactly great. So where am I going with this? Well, I think all of that pressure that I took on, and as things kind of get ahead of yourself, you're always trying to play catch up, and I'm not really good at that. I'm not really good when I don't feel like I'm in control, and I'm always trying to gain control back. Otherwise, I feel lost. And so playing catch up, just kind of, I still was getting behind, just adult stuff, bills, tags on your car, you paying for normal things that you want to. And of course, my wife, Olivia, really had some and has some difficult health issues, right? And so I just wanted to provide for her. And I thought I'd just do it by myself with my company. That was not the case. And so she had to start getting some work. And, I was all fine. And about a year ago, the summer of last year, I just kind of broke down with everything that I feel like I thought was just my job. I thought it was just the job. I was everything. And, I couldn't get up physically to work and provide for my family. And I was still playing catch up because I wanted to provide for my family, my wife and my cat. And so I was like, this isn't right. This is not normal. This is not a normal human thing. This is not what's intended. I mean, I wanted to work, and I couldn't mentally or physically. Every time I just would cry, and it was pathetic, and I just break down. And so I went and got some help because I'm like, I'm not going to let this stay. I'm not going to let this fester. So I went to a doctor and I got medication. Started it. It helped a little bit. Got some more medication later. Started therapy. I was doing all of this up until this point. I'm still doing it. And through the course of those interactions, I learned that I've had ADHD my whole life, and I've been depressed, like bad depressed, for at least at that time 10 years. So for now, more than half of my life. I had a good childhood, but it could have been the ADHD that caused it, where I just have been depressed and didn't know it, didn't have the tools to recognize it, and didn't see past it. And if you don't know, I wrote down what ADHD and depression feels like. ADHD, it's like a vortex that you feel like you can just leave it at any time. And you can even just see the exit. It's just like, all you have to do is turn the handle. But every time that you come around to that exit, you physically can't push yourself anymore. And mentally, you start to spiral out of control. You just put more and more pressure on yourself to try and get out of that cycle. Once you fail, and once you recognize that you can't get to that exit anymore after you've passed it, then you just fall deeper into that vortex. And even though you're trying your best, and you work hard, and you ask for help, and you do the right things that people are telling you, you can't escape it. You can't escape yourself. And what's worse is that you can look at other people, your age, older, younger, that are reaching their goals. They're doing what they want. They have control of their life. And they're successful in different aspects, spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever the case may be. And you don't have that. And it feels like that's because you're in your vortex that you created. And it feels like you caused it. That's what ADHD feels like. Depression takes that vortex and puts all and any of the blame that there is to give and puts it onto yourself. It makes your lows feel even lower, and it crushes any self-found hope, and it feeds on your own willpower, and it just shoves you to the ground, and it gives you thoughts that nobody should ever have. And so that's what depression feels like. And so I realized that I was dealing with that, and I just thought I was worse than everyone else. At least now there's a label, I guess, and I can work on it. And that's what I'm trying to do. And so it's made work extremely difficult, just being a normal functioning human. And so for reasons that weren't all because of these issues, the work that I had, the accounts that I had with my own business, Orbstar LLC, they amicably came to an end. There was some new management, and it was really probably just not the right job for me at that time, dealing with those issues, self-motivation issues. And so I decided to move on, take a different job, go back to having an employer, and things were a lot better, right? I was enjoying it. I had to get back into a good rhythm of being on time, and because before I was my own boss, and so I was really good with that. And then I just realized how much bills you have, and you're not making the same amount, so I had to reach out for more, and I was spreading myself very thin, and the work that I got from an employer kind of fizzled out. And so I started something else that went back to my Orbstar work, and it was working for a really good person, a really wise and good friend man. He's a great person and taught me a lot, and he needed someone to really be in a right headspace to take on the work that he needed to manage the accounts that he had that would have been great. And I loved every second of being able to learn from that person and work on that job. But mentally, where I was, I could not physically, mostly mentally. I mean, physically I could. Every time I was at work, I worked so hard for any job that I had. Getting there was the problem. And And so that came to an amicable end as well, just because, some priorities changed for him as well. He kind of realized that he could probably still do what he was doing just fine. And, I just wasn't ready to do that. And I realized myself I can't manage and be what that person needed. So we agreed to that, and it was a really nice experience. But that came to me becoming unemployed. So that's kind of where I'm at now. And I've been unemployed for about a month now. Maybe longer, I'm not sure. But I was like obviously depressed, but I have the deepest desire to provide for my wife. And so I reached out to government aid, right? Unemployment, food stamps or SNAP, and anything else I could find. And I applied to a dozen jobs, and I still haven't heard anything back. And the government aid, it's the government, so it's taking forever, even though I'm trying as hard as I can. So I'm trying. I've tried my hardest now for 2 years to be a good husband and a good friend and a good son and a good brother. And I put everything into this. And I don't want to cry because I don't want pity. I want to help people. I don't want to need help. I don't want to be a burden. I want to be generous to people. I don't want people to be generous to me. I want to be the person that I know I can be, but it's so hard. But there's so many nice people out there that want to help me. And it just feels wrong, but I need the help. I know I can't just be like a cat, right? A cat, your nice cat that loves you and is the best. When it feels like it's gonna die, it just finds the quietest, most hidden spot in the house, lays there and dies, so nobody is worried about it, and nobody, he doesn't feel like it burdened anyone. I don't want to die, but I just would rather not. I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't think I was gonna cry for this stupid video. My parents are so amazing. They've helped me so much, and they set up a thing, and I'm not gonna say what it is because I don't want it to feel like I'm asking for help. And I don't know. I'm kind of lost now for my thoughts, but there's just so many nice people. I just wanted to make a video to thank all of you and explain myself a little bit because it's all out there now, at least a little bit. And I don't want people to look at my family like I'm just begging for money. I want my family to be seen as generous, amazing people. It just feels like it's my fault for all this. Just breathe. So I guess that's all I wanted to say. I know things are going to get better. I'm excited. I have goals. I have dreams that I've always had. And I know I'm going to reach them because I'm a competitive person. I always find a way to reach my goals. And I'm always going to try no matter what. There's so many amazing people in my life. And it just doesn't seem fair sometimes. My mom, my dad, Olivia, Jackson. There's so many amazing people, and I just want to write a list and thank all of them for all their generosity through this period of my life. Especially my wife. Okay, I don't want this to look any more pathetic. I'm done crying. We're good. I'm sorry. Hopefully I'm cut parts of this video. But the point of this video is I want to be the person that I know I can be, right? And when I look back at this video in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, I'm going to be so grateful again for all the people that helped me right now to get back up on my feet and back on course to becoming that generous, nice, humble, funny guy that I know that I can be and I have been in the past. And I'm going to be so grateful and just see how far I've come. It's a little bit of that, and it's also just saying how amazing my family is and how amazing all you amazing friends of mine are. That's it. I'm just going to end it so that I don't keep crying, right? I don't know how to end this thing. So, how about a quote, okay? Okay, well, I broke that, but I saw this meme and it's really funny. It's make sure to give up when it gets really hard. And I don't know why, but it's like a businessman. It just made me laugh. So always remember to just give up. And I don't know, you have to laugh sometimes when you're in the most stressful situations because that's all you can do. You can only be yourself and keep trying. Thank you.